We are talking Money in the Bank. You had the opportunity to watch our breakdowns of the men's Money in the Bank ladder match and the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Today, we are talking about our bold predictions of who is walking away with the briefcase as Mr. and Mrs. Money in the Bank, as well as all of the other matches that are slated for this card. This is star-studded. This is high stakes. This is getting personal. So August, let me know what's happening. Tell me what's causing all this.
Well, no CM Punk on the card. I'm not watching. Hashtag just kidding. However, what the fuck? I love CM Punk. Why is he not on the card? This is a problem. Ultimately, I think it is a pretty star-studded card.
No, that was on Monday. Shit.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of something else. I'm thinking not Punk. I'm thinking, because I was thinking about the tag team match that happened that did not involve Punk because he was in the qualifier, but it has Punk's name attached to it because of other things, but...
What match are you talking about?
Anyway, not important. I'm talking about how Sammy and Jay faced off with whoever the hell they faced off with.
Okay.
Yeah, because CM Punk is intertwined.
You mean the bronze? You mean the bronze?
Oh my god, I want to see bronze statues of the bronze. That'd be so good.
So the fact that they released Braun Strowman and he could have been a part of this is a problem. Imagine Braun Strowman, Bronson Reed, and Braun Breaker protecting Seth Rollins.
This is a problem.
That'd be amazing.
That'd be amazing.
Let's just start it off with the men's tag team match, which is more than likely going to be the main event. I will say it's John Cena, it's Logan Paul, it's Jey Uso, it's the two men's world champions.
Yeah,
facing off in a tag team match.
Yeah, it's the undisputed WWE champion against the world heavyweight champion. I mean, if you don't have this in your main event spot, I mean, why are they champion to begin with? But also, fans are gonna be leaving before the match even starts if that's the case, unfortunately, because it's gonna be a Triple H Roman Reigns WrestleMania 32, where, not that nobody wants to see it. I mean, I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be a great match. I don't think it's main event worthy. I don't think it needs to be there, especially considering we just had all four of these men on Saturday night's main event. But I digress. They are the champions, and they are champions for a reason, so let's put them on the card. Hopefully they kick it off. They probably won't.
Yeah, so I think this is the main event, and I think this is the main event for the same reason that John Cena, I almost said John Cena, Cody Rhodes, sorry, that Jey Uso, Logan Paul was the main event, because of shenanigans, because of returns, because of debuts, and because of things like that. I think something big is going to go down in this matchup. I do not think it is going to be just a clean 1, 2, 3 kind of match, and I do think SummerSlam is August 1st. We are less than 2 months out from SummerSlam, officially now, and so SummerSlam is 2 nights. I think the big build has to start for who the hell is John Cena going to face at SummerSlam, and I actually have my prediction for that, and I'm not happy with my prediction for that, but I think this person is going to come in at the end of this match and have the stare down with John Cena, as Roman Reigns is going to make his big return. And I think Roman Reigns is going to mean mug the shit out of John Cena, and we are going to build to yet another Roman Reigns, John Cena SummerSlam match. Because it is the biggest match that they could probably do right now in regards to both of those men. And it also kind of leads in nicely in terms of Roman then feuding with Rock, if they want to go down that way, because Rock and Cena are kind of aligned. So when Cena officially hangs up his boots, Rock can kind of have a problem with what Roman did, versus it kind of gives them a lot of opportunities. So ultimately, how I think I'm going to call this one is I think John Cena is actually going to win. I think this is going to be Cody suffering his second loss here to Cena. I don't know if Cody is the one who takes the pin. I'm not going to call that, because I don't know if it will be Cody or Jay. But I do think Cena is going to pin one of them, I do think it is going to be a 1-2-3, and I think it is going to be, ironically, Roman Reigns coming to the save, coming in, I don't know how I'm trying to say this, coming in to save Cody Rhodes will be Roman Reigns. Kind of ironic, kind of crazy, but that is how your boy sees it happening.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Look really pissed.
Because I'm not that pissed. But my thing is, that's a great call, and that would be a great match. However, I don't need to see them run back Roman Reigns and John Cena. It happened rather recently. I don't need to see it again.
I agree.
I don't know how else you bring Roman back in except for that, though. Not that we need him. We do need him for SummerSlam, but we don't need him right now. My prediction for SummerSlam, just since we're on the topic, I do think they're going to run back Cody Rhodes, John Cena for the rematch. I think it needs to happen. Cody never got a rematch for the title. I see them leaning that way. That is how I personally perceive this happening. Especially if Cody Rhodes is the one that picks up the pinfall victory in this match, which is the way that I'm leaning. Now, something we've talked about in previous episodes, most specifically our breakdowns of the men's and women's Money in the Bank ladder matches. We don't have the most faith in WWE right now on multiple fronts. And one of them, for me, and I'm sure you as well, is the booking of a heel John Cena. He is always made to look weak. He is always flat on his back after taking someone else's finisher, most specifically an RKO out of nowhere. And I definitely see John Cena flat on his back again. Whether or not Cody pins Logan or John Cena remains to be seen. I'm not going to make that call either. But I think that Cody picking up the victory in this match gives him the gripe to get that rematch for the championship, and I definitely see it happening at SummerSlam as opposed to whatever pay-per-view happens between Money in the Bank and SummerSlam, or any of the multitude of secondary PLEs that they've been having, such as Saturday night's main event. They are going to have another Saturday night's main event in July, aren't they?
Probably.
No, they did. They announced that it's going to be, there's going to be 2 shows the same weekend, one of them being Evolution. I don't remember what the other one is, but it might be Saturday night's main event.
I think it's
it's something.
I
don't think it's Saturday night's main event, but is it Worlds Collide?
I think it's
another
a pay-per-view
one?
like that. Very similar.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds familiar. I should have this in my notes, but I do not. But anyway, I think that if when they run back Cody Cena, it's going to be at SummerSlam. It's not going to be at a secondary pay-per-view or even a secondary to the secondary pay-per-views.
Yep, Saturday night's main event, July 12th, 2025.
Yeah, it's not going to happen then. But anyway, you and I are split on this one, which I like to see, and I would like for it to go your way. I want Cena to win because I'm tired of seeing him flat on his back consistently through this run, because it's just like, why would he turn heel if he's just going to be losing night after night after night and flat on his back night after night after night? I know that this is not what Cena signed up for, and it certainly isn't what any of us as fans signed up for in his final run during his retirement tour.
I want to see heel Cena. Everybody's saying I want to see him start to be remorseful, show depth. I don't. I want Cena to I want him to dig his heels in. If you remember 2006, 2007 John Cena, what was his fucking slogan? If you want some, come get some.
Come get some.
And that is what I want. I want him to beat Cody's ass here. I want him to win decisively. And I want Cena to say, look, you guys are going to make me ruin wrestling. This is your fault. I'm walking away with this title. I'm stepping up. I'm defending this fucking championship. And nobody is taking it from me. You have sent these guys. They are not winning. And then that way you can build to Cena Cody 3, which I think is not going to happen at SummerSlam. I think it's going to be Survivor Series. And I do think it is going to be John Cena, Cody Rhodes, and that is going to be their bloody final encounter where Cody finally gets his victory and defeats John Cena there. And then you can build to Cena's last match. You got about a month to kind of build to that, and Cody can move on to brighter days of getting RKO'd in the future. We will see. We will see.
The Women's Intercontinental Championship. Becky Lynch versus Lyra Valkyria. The Fightin' Irish are here once again. You got my girl and your girl, except it's our girl and your girl. So, August, what are your thoughts on this Women's Intercontinental Championship match?
I'm happy
because I've got a lot of them.
I'm happy either way. I will mention the dark horse in this, if they don't do the Roman return, is the fact that Lyra has an ally, someone she is pretty darn close with, not very close with, but pretty darn close with, who also probably hates the guts of Becky Lynch right now. And so if we do see a return that is not Roman Reigns, I think you can count on it being Bayley making her return, taking out Becky, costing her the win, and now you have Bayley, Becky for no title, and Lyra can move on, continuing her historic first ever Intercontinental Championship reign. I love Lyra. I think she's doing some of the best work of her career right now, if not the best work. And I can't wait to see what else she has in store for us, because she's been doing great. If Becky wins, I'm not mad. But honestly, I wouldn't be upset if they just put a pin in this feud for like a year and just circled back around to it. And it had that added stipulation that Becky can't challenge her for this, and it kind of stews at Becky. Becky is something she can't do now until Lyra finally loses this thing. So a year from now, when Lyra does lose, Becky can finally get her grubby little hands all over the woman who took it all from her. I would absolutely love that. I would love to see Bayley come back. We need some women star power on Evolution 2, and who better than Bayley, my other gal. So that is not just my prediction, that is my spoiler. Bayley's coming back. She's costing Becky. Lyra's walking away. Lyra won belts. Thank you very much.
Let me say right now something that you know, that I would like to touch on something you said. You said that Lyra might be doing the best work of her career. No, she is absolutely doing the best work of her career, to the fact that she's even getting me to pay attention. I am loving what Lyra is doing. Now, I am not a Lyra fan. I am not her biggest fan. I mean, she's great. She's doing good things. I'm just not sold on her. That's just my personal opinion. Becky Lynch is my woman. That is my gal. That is my man. The way that I saw it happening before you had to ruin it with the stain that is Bayley is that I was going to say Becky walks away with the championship or with some sort of a victory, maybe disqualification, maybe count out, maybe something nefarious to happen. Becky Lynch is going to do something to Lyra, and it's not going to be pretty. And she's walking away either with a victory or with a championship or with Lyra not even being able to leave under her own power. And that would culminate in match number 3 between the two at Evolution, which leads to Becky Lynch leaving with the title. Whether she's defending or not, I don't know. Because I really don't, I like the story that you told. I think that it makes too much sense and it makes me angry. But still, gonna say, I think that they're going to have a third match, maybe in a cage, between these two women at Evolution. That's where I personally see this going. But that's because I don't want to see Bayley, but that's me being selfish, and I definitely think you're probably right, unfortunately, as much as I hate to admit it. But just for the sake of sticking with my original hypothesis, and for the sake of arguing with you, I'm going to say that Lyra and Becky face off at Evolution because I do not want a returning Bayley. Now, Becky is going to be the one walking out. Lyra will be a bloody mess in the ring. I don't know who's leaving with the title, though. So we'll have to see how that plays out.
Speaking of seeing how it plays out, the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. You might as well pick up a dart and throw it at a board, and the dart's going to have a better chance of finding the winner of this match than either one of us. So I say for this, we get our actual pick, as we normally would, like, hey, I think this person's going to win, but I think we should also get a dark horse pick. A pick that's like, hey, at the end of the day, like, if I see a surprise happening, this is my pick for that surprise. And I would like you to go first, because my surprise pick, you're going to be like, you are insane. You're crazy. Yeah. There's no way they're going to win. But I know who's winning this match. I know who's
Now, let me tell you, there's one thing that I touched on in our previous episode where we went through all the details of the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, and I touched on the fact that why would they have El Grande Americano beat the likes of CM Punk and AJ Styles if he's not going to win this match? Well, he's not, because LA Knight is going to be walking away victorious tonight.
Yeah.
We've talked about it endlessly, how LA Knight, it's time to pull the trigger on him. It's time to put the Money in the Bank briefcase in his hands. It's time for us to finally have a worthy Mr. Money in the Bank who can carry it properly and carry it for more than an hour. I'm excited to see this. Now, months ago, I predicted that LA Knight would be victorious, and I'm going to stick with that. Now, obviously, a lot has changed. There are a lot of new names in this ladder match that we didn't know or think would be in it at the time of our original predictions, but I'm going to stick with it just for that. Now, I also think that he's very worthy. I think that he's very deserving. He's absolutely earned this, and I would love to see nothing more than LA Knight be Mr. Money in the Bank. Now, my dark horse isn't really a dark horse at all, but in our previous episode, if you didn't watch it where we broke this match down, check it out before I give you this prediction. Because it might not be a prediction, it could be a spoiler. Seth freaking Rollins. Who better to carry the Money in the Bank briefcase once again for the second time than Seth freaking Rollins? He has Paul Heyman behind him. He has the bronze by his side. He has the perfect character to be carrying that briefcase. He also has history with both current world champions. Now, having Seth Rollins carrying around the Money in the Bank briefcase, means he's not going to have to lift a finger until he cashes in and the other two can just do his dirty work. He doesn't have to earn a title shot. He doesn't have to earn Jack Diddley squat. He doesn't even have to have a match if he doesn't want to, because he has the Money in the Bank briefcase. And another detail that I touched on is who hates Seth Rollins more than anyone, and who does Seth Rollins hate more than anyone? Did I say that twice? Maybe I did. I think I didn't. Anyway, who does Seth Rollins hate more than anyone, and who hates Seth Rollins more than anyone? CM Punk. And CM Punk is the only man to win 2 Money in the Bank ladder matches. What better way to say fuck you to CM Punk but having Seth Rollins win it for the second time? I think that would be poetic. I think that the story is truly there, and I could see, with the way things are going with Seth Rollins and his whole crew, it would just be beautiful. It would be perfect. Obviously, Seth isn't afraid of getting his hands dirty, but if he doesn't have to, let's make it happen.
So, again, spoilers here. If you missed our episode that went up on Thursday, talking about the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, kind of the prelude to this, where we talk about our actual winners. I mentioned the big issue with Seth Rollins winning and why he's not my pick. Well, why I teased he wouldn't be my pick is because his feud with CM Punk, and how Triple H is going to want this feud to extend to SummerSlam, where we finally get the big blow-off match. And Punk is going to come out, he's going to cost Seth Rollins the Money in the Bank briefcase. I lied, baby. I lied through my teeth, because there is 2 perfect things that can happen here. One is Punk does do that, but Seth Rollins is the architect. Seth Rollins has the bronze. And when Punk comes out and goes to GTS Seth Rollins, Punk gets speared out of his fucking sand shoes and gets thrown out of the ring as Bronson Reed carries Seth Rollins' carcass up that ladder, and Seth still wins the match despite CM Punk's interference, which is the strongest way to book this group, because Seth should have no business winning this match after Punk interferes, but he does, which then leads us to SummerSlam, where you put him in a cage, you put a special, or you put a contention around the match and say, hey, if anybody interferes in this match, they are fired, or Seth Rollins automatically loses, or Seth Rollins is forced to give his Money in the Bank briefcase to CM Punk if he loses by disqualification. So these men cannot interfere, and then you do Seth Rollins versus CM Punk, and guess what? CM Punk beats Seth Rollins because CM Punk needs to win this feud. However, if Seth Rollins can go out the next night on Raw and say, guess what, bitch? Yeah, you won. I'm still Mr. Money in the Bank, though. I'm still your next world champion. Both men are stars moving out of the match. No man is the loser. And both men look like fucking champions leaving this match. Seth Rollins is my pick to win Money in the Bank. And I think that is exactly how it's going to happen. So that way, CM Punk can win this feud at SummerSlam. And Rollins doesn't look weak. And it gets the group over as a whole. For my dark horse pick, buckle up, Destiny, because you are not ready for this.
I think I know who it's going to be, but I'm ready for the ride. Let's go.
Give me who you think it's going to be.
Who's the greatest luchador of all time but El Grande Americano?
Okay. All men are down. The ladder is set up in the middle of the ring.
I have a prediction. I have an idea.
The ladder is... You might know exactly what I'm about to say. The ladder is set up in the middle of the ring. And who takes advantage but our fucking Truth coming down to the center of the ring. He climbs the ladder and he captures the contract. Free agent R-Truth. He captures the contract and thinks he just became a WWE superstar like his childhood hero John Cena, because it is a contract hanging above the ring. And this is TKO's way of trying to get back in the good graces of the fans. Do I think this is going to happen? No. Seth Rollins is winning this match. However, if I have a dark horse pick, it is R-Truth coming down, tying in, by the way, with his whole Money in the Bank obsession, which kind of started this whole wacky babyface character, because he was a wacky heel. He had the whole Lil Jimmy thing, but he was more psychotic tendencies of a bad guy. The Truth coming out during the Money in the Bank promo and saying that's what Truth is going to do with Money in the Bank. Not even in
the match.
What a perfect way to encapsulate R-Truth, to have him win a Money in the Bank match that he's not even fucking in, as an apology to the fans, and have R-Truth be then reinstated as your not even Mr. Money in the Bank. He just wins his career contract back. He Drake Mavericks his ass. I will say the only reason why
bullshit like that.
The only reason LA Knight
in the best way
is not in this position for me is because July 12th, 2025, there is a Saturday night's main event. And that is, I guarantee, LA Knight, John Cena. That's probably the match you're going to get. I
take my money and run. I'm happy.
Yeah. I could definitely see it happening. So prepare for those commercial breaks.
I will, but I have to admit there was something that I thought you were going to say that wasn't R-Truth, and I have to touch on it. Something that somebody mentioned was if it is one of those situations where you talked about all men being down, and El Grande Americano is out of the match, who better to take his spot than Chad Gable? And Chad Gable could come out a fresh man and be victorious and win the Money in the Bank briefcase.
I like it. The only issue I have is he wouldn't be a fresh man, ma'am. He faces Vikingo for the AAA World Championship earlier that night. So he wouldn't be a fresh man. He would be tired. I just think
fresher.
A little fresher. A little Fresh Prince. Fresh Prince of Mexicano.
West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground is where I
the women's Money in the Bank ladder match before we get copyright strike from Destiny's fantastic singing there.
This is the match that should main event. I just want to put that out there. This needs to be the main event.
Becky Lyra should main event with Bayley's big return being the spotlight of the show. Destiny, do you want to go first, or would you like me to go first with my predictions for this?
I would love for you to go first because I went first for the men's. Unless you have something big up your sleeve.
I don't. I genuinely think Rhea Ripley has this match in the bag. I genuinely think Rhea Ripley wins. She debuts her nice little Money in the Bank briefcase the next night on Raw. WWE sells millions of dollars of replica briefcases, and then She kind of does the buddy for Io for a couple weeks, and then 2 weeks before Evolution 2, she goes, hey, buddy, I'm cashing in my contract, and I will see you at Evolution 2. And it's, oh my god, I can't believe she would do that. Great. My dark horse pick is I do think the Wyatt Six need help. It's now or never for Wyatt Six because they are really struggling. And I think having Alexa Bliss be the direction of the group would be huge. And I think Miss Money in the Bliss would be even huger. And so she is my dark horse pick, with her doing this whole Jekyll and Hyde, Fiend and Firefly Wyatt gimmick persona that we talked about in yesterday's episode. Yes, in yesterday's episode. So that's my dark horse pick, but I see one of those two women walking out. I think it's a year too early for Perez. I think next year she will be there. But if I had to pick a third, it would be Perez. I don't think Julia, Vicaire, or Naomi, unfortunately, I don't think any of those three are walking out as the women's Money in the Bank.
Now, something that I need to say, and I said it before, I'll say it again. We really dove deep into these predictions and into each individual star that's in this match in our previous episode. So check out yesterday's episode if you haven't already before I go into what I'm about to say. Now, I had basically had myself convinced, and you also helped to convince me, that Roxanne Perez was winning this match because of the way that we both sold it. But then you had something very important to add, that, next year would be her year. She's so brand new to the roster. She's so fresh, so clean. She's got another year or two under her belt, then she'll win it. But there's something that I think is so important to touch on. WWE oftentimes has situations where they build somebody up and they give them a major accolade, like they did with Roxanne Perez being the first runner-up in the Royal Rumble and breaking the record for the longest time spent in a Royal Rumble by a woman. And then she was in the Elimination Chamber, and then she disappeared and was not seen at WrestleMania, and then she made her triumphant return alongside Julia. Now, we've seen this before where they build a major star and then they just do nothing, but then they make up for it. Oftentimes with the Money in the Bank briefcase, similarly to how they did last year with Tiffany, because she had a star-making performance and a star-making reaction in Australia in Elimination Chamber, and then nothing on Mania, nothing after that, but she won Money in the Bank. Similarly, Alexa Bliss in 2016, when they were crowning the first ever SmackDown Women's Champion, Alexa Bliss had the performance of the night. She had the best showing in that match. It was a 6-pack challenge. She had the best performance of all of them, but she was the first one eliminated. And they made up for it by having her be the second ever SmackDown Women's Champion by beating Becky Lynch. So even when people are getting screwed, there is something major on the horizon. And Roxanne was left off of WrestleMania so that she can claim her rightful place as Miss Money in the Bank. That is my official prediction. And if you want to be sold on it as much as I am, go back and watch our full episode going in deep into the details as to why she is the right woman for this position. I do have a dark horse, and funny enough, I just talked about her, and it's the same dark horse as you, Alexa Bliss. Who better to be the first ever 2-time women's Miss Money in the Bank than Alexa Bliss? The goddess herself and soon-to-be leader, most likely, of the Wyatt Six. I love how you talked about how having her win it and then aligning with the Wyatt Six, how that would bring legitimacy to that group and how they really do need something under their belt to bring them up to the next level because they are truly, respectfully, floundering. It's just really hard for this group and other iterations of this group to really get their feet under them, unfortunately. And I think that Alexa Bliss will be the exact opposite of a kiss of death. She will be a kiss of life to this group.
I think the most important thing to say right now is why the fuck is Undertaker featured front and center on the Raw 1000 poster?
Why the fuck not?
Because he wasn't really, like, he was early Raw. Raw debuted, like, 1994, 1995. But, like, all of Undertaker's best stuff was on SmackDown. Like, he wasn't really a Raw guy for most of his career.
Now, this is accurate, but what I do have to say is, leading up to Raw 1000, WWE put out a countdown of the top 100 Raw moments of all time, and Undertaker was in at least 25% of them, if not half. Now, obviously, his best work is SmackDown, but you can't really read it, but at the top it says, making television history every Monday night since 1993. Who has made more history than this man? Not all of it's been on Raw, but he's a history maker at his core, and he's one of the biggest stars in the history of this company. So it's Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, John Cena, Edge, and Stone Cold Steve Austin.
What? He also main evented the first Monday Night Raw, which is pretty crazy.
Accurate.
But so, it's such a weird...
for him to be featured.
I'm fine with him being featured. Him being the centerpiece with Cena is the crazy thing to me. That 100% should be...
And also having him be so much bigger.
Yeah, it's
also
like...
Also the fact that his hair is so airbrushed.
It's just so... Like, that's... Austin ran Raw. Shawn Michaels and Triple H as DX. And not only as DX, but from 2002 to 2010, that was their show, minus Triple H's 1-year hiatus to SmackDown. Like, it's so crazy that they're like, nah, Undertaker's going to be front and center for this. Edge?
Well, Triple H didn't want to work Tuesdays.
Yeah, it just... Yeah, no, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think those are both your dark horse pick, matched my dark horse pick. Yeah. But if I had to pick a third, it would be Roxanne Perez. I think if there's a time, because Julia and Stephanie are about to take off like crazy, and so the best way to keep Perez in that same echelon with them would be to give her that little taste, that little taste, that little teaser for the fans that's like, hey, don't forget about Roxanne now. She's still something.
Yeah. And funny enough, if I had to pick a third woman, it would be Rhea Ripley. Because, like we said, corporate greed. Because that is the way to go if you want to make money and sell tickets and to sell merchandise. That's the woman. Because she is, and that's not even her fault. That is all on the company. She's an incredible star and she's earned everything that she has. And all power to her. Congratulations, Rhea Ripley, on being an absolute badass. We love you and we will always support you no matter what. Just saying. Be a money grab. Now, something that we do need to touch on is, as I talked about months ago, we predicted who would be winning these matches. Neither of our picks for the women's Money in the Bank ladder match are even in the damn match. Because August had picked Bianca Belair, and I had picked Chelsea Green. And the fact that neither woman is in this match is so devastating, and it's such a travesty that I can't even explain it. But also, who would you take out of this match? Let me know, because I can't pick one.
Stephanie.
Except maybe Rhea.
Stephanie.
Because she doesn't need it.
And Rhea. No, here's my problem with Stephanie. She should be the centerpiece of NXT women's wrestling for at least the remainder of the year. I don't understand why they hot-shotted her out of NXT like that. I think she was doing so good in NXT. She was just establishing it as her show. She's been there for, I think she made her debut about a year ago is when she got signed. So she's been there less than a year. And she was getting to the point where NXT was starting to become the Stephanie Valkyria show. And then they just ripped her out of it as she was really starting to ignite her spot there. And now she's back to square one on Raw, essentially. And yeah, she has a nice little boost behind her. But unless they're going to Finn Balor her ass, why the hell is she in this match right now? Why would you not keep her on NXT and build her up even more? I don't know.
Yeah. I think that the key point is evolution. They need major star power. They need big names. They need big mega stars. They need the aura of a Julia, of a Stephanie, just to round out round out the card. I don't know how she's going to be wrestling at Evolution, I don't know if it'll be a tag team, a multi-woman, or a one-on-one, but she's going to be there, and she's going to be there in full force, as is Julia.
Well, and
as is everyone in this match.
What now makes me interested here is we talked about the fact that Stephanie and Julia are going to have a stare down. I wouldn't doubt if they actually finished off their, because we talked about how it ended so awkwardly in NXT where Julia turned heel and then just kind of disappeared. I wouldn't doubt if they have the blow-off match for their initial feud in a month in Evolution 2. And that's, we get the final tease for it here at Money in the Bank. And you have this almost interpromotional Raw top acquisition versus SmackDown top acquisition in Julia and Stephanie kind of vying, which I wouldn't hate because it would be, it's a big money match. But at the same time, Stephanie has had some primetime television exposure. She gets huge reactions on Raw before people even really knew who she was. Like, they debuted her, had her come out against Io, and they probably expected your normal NXT entrance where, like, half the audience is like, oh, hey, it's this NXT star. I liked NXT, where the other half of the audience is like, who the hell is this now? But Stephanie had a major pop.
To be fair, it was the night after WrestleMania, so it was those types of fans that are consistently watching NXT or at least paying attention to it.
But at the same time, if you hadn't been watching NXT or paying attention, you heard the pop and you see her come out and you're like, oh my God, this lady's a superstar. Who the hell is she? If there's a night to debut her and have her capture the attention of the audience, it was then. And so I think Stephanie was strong enough to feature her on Evolution and not have to call her up to the main roster in order to do so.
Valid. Maybe Evolution would be the place to lose the NXT Women's Championship, because I definitely think that I think that they're going to feature that title no matter what at Evolution. I think that's where Jordynne Grace is going to capture the title after all of this time. I think I know it hasn't been that long, but I mean, it's time for Jordynne Grace to have the strap. It's time for that woman to be on top.
Are you ready to be pissed? Apparently, Jordynne Grace is the next NXT call up to SmackDown. Is what they're eyeballing.
I mean, I'm sure she is. I mean, listen, I'm not doubting that one bit. I think that is their way of getting her to the main roster before Evolution. But you can't just have this many call-ups, especially this many female call-ups all at once, when you can't even feature the talent that you already have. So I worry. Now, obviously, Jordynne is a star, and she's going to be fine no matter where she goes and no matter what she does. However, you shouldn't be calling her up at the same time as 3 other superstars. That's just nonsense. And I want to see her run NXT because she absolutely deserves to run NXT. I know she's had a great run, and she even had a great run even when she was still with TNA. But I want to see more of her in NXT. There's so much untapped potential there, and there are so many great matches she could be having and so many women that she could be elevating with her experience in NXT. I don't know. I'm just like, obviously she deserves to be on the main roster. That's not even up for debate.
I back you 100%
know that she's a star.
Yeah.
But God, of course. But the thing is, she would just dominate NXT. And obviously, like, she's ready for the main roster. That's not up for debate. She's been ready. She's been ready for years. And that's why she was so quick to jump ship to WWE as soon as her TNA contract was up. And that's why she has been featured in multiple Royal Rumbles already in such big ways. And I'm just so ready to see them truly elevate her to the next level to be the star that she was born to be.
Yeah, it ultimately just comes down to the problem of the same reason why I'm not a fan of Stephanie being on Raw right now and how that's going to hurt Roxanne Perez. You're going to be doing the same thing with Julia and Jordynne on SmackDown if you have them both called up at the same time, because you can only really introduce so many people to the audience at once before the audience just kind of starts mentally grouping them together. Like, oh, these are the. It's the same problem that AAA is going to have as they start to incorporate more stars over. Is the main core of the audience is just going to see, oh, here's the Mexican, here's the luchador talents, and that's what they're going to be all grouped as. They have to be introduced as individual as possible. And that is the same thing with the women here. And not just women, but men call up from NXT. It is so important to single spotlight them and to not, unless they're a tag team, of course, that's the exception. If they're a tag team or if they're a group and you want to do that, that's great. But if you're not introducing them as a single entity and as multiple entities at once, ask Cameron Grimes how well that works out. It doesn't.
Ask EC3 how well that works out.
Ask EC2, EC1. They didn't get to debut on TV.
Exactly.
So that is our predictions for Money in the Bank. If you want to check out my live reaction to Money in the Bank, guess what? I might be live right now when you're watching this video. I am live tonight, checking out the pay-per-view in a watch-along fashion. You bring your copy of the event, I'll be there watching it with you, providing quality commentary there. But we do appreciate you checking out our predictions. We know we were right, but we hope you are too. If you have different predictions, drop them in the comments down below. Tell us who you want to win the match and tell us who is going to win the match, because it is seldom rare that those two things are the same exact name. Destiny, any last thoughts to send the people home happy?
Always remember to be an organ donor on your driver's license. Be sparkly, be you, and have a great night and enjoy wrestling.